They were a passionate and violent pair, pitted in a deadly competition with each other, yet united in an eerie psychic battle against the world. From childhood, twins June and Jennifer Gibbons were inseparably linked, bound together in a strange love, but also an obsessive hatred, living life only for each other, and even creating their own language. The two weren't excerptly intertwined, but after years of unhappiness, they decided that the only way one of them could live normally was for the other to die. Born in 1963, June and Jennifer moved from Barbados, their parents' native land, to Haverfordwest, where their father, Opry, was stationed as a pilot. Gloria, their mother, kept house and looked after the twins and their 3 siblings. Even as babies, Gloria noticed the twins wanted to do everything together, even struggling to be nursed simultaneously. As they grew older, being of West Indian descent, but living in Wales, the girls were the subject of racial taunts. During their school years, the bullying would get so bad that their principal would actually allow them to leave before everybody else in order to give them a head start to separate themselves from the bullies. The color of their skin, coupled with the fact that they both had a speech impediment, made them stand out. The speech issues made it very difficult for people to understand them verbally, and as they grew, they avoided anyone that was not one another, including their own family. To the teachers and family, the fact that the girls were so inseparable seemed to be both a blessing and a curse. Spending every waking moment in each other's company, the twins eventually created their very own language, a seemingly unintelligible Bible which nobody else around them could even begin to understand. However strange, this manifestation of their self-imposed isolation from the rest of the world was. It was in fact not unique. This was not the first case of twins making up their own language. This oral phenomenon has actually happened so frequently historically that there's a word for it: cryptophasia. Cryptophasia is a type of idioglossia, which is an invented language spoken by twins. The girls spoke only to each other. Not even their parents could broach their barrier of silence, while adults were not graced with the verbal acknowledgement of the twins. They did occasionally communicate with their younger sister Rose. To the outside world, they were elective mutes. And Shahern, an expert on voluntary mutism, met the twins and became convinced a game was going on. She believed that using secret eye signals, Jennifer was stopping June from speaking, controlling her as if she was a robot. A head teacher even called Jennifer evil. Katie Arthur, another expert, secretly recorded the twins' private language, playing it back slowly. She was surprised to discover that it was actually just everyday English, simply spoken at an enormous rate of speed. This almost inhuman skill was seemingly born of a desire to disengage themselves even further from society. The twins would mirror each other's actions effortlessly and do the same tasks in the same way. At the same time, the twins spooked their peers, moving extremely slowly in perfect time. They seemed almost alien. Like one teacher recalls that they were like, quote, zombies, drinking cups of tea or taking off their coats in eerie, slow motion unity. Equally striking was the boldness and commitment of their mutual mirroring. They were tasked with taking horse riding lessons in an attempt to encourage their own individual freedom of movement. But instructors say that this was not a successful endeavor. As if one fell off, the other would immediately fall off, too, without fail. By the age of 14, the twins had been seen by a succession of therapists and specialists who tried tirelessly to encourage the girls to open up to the outside world, or at least to their parents. But to no avail. The two were even sent to a separate boarding school, in hopes that upon being physically separated, they might connect with the outside world. But upon being separated, instead of opening up, they further retracted into their tightly closed shells, and eventually teachers concerned reported to administrators that the girls were exhibiting almost catatonic behavior upon reunion, and to the dismay of their parents and doctors, the twins bond even further, and they would begin to stay locked up in their bedroom for increasingly longer and longer durations in their room. They played with their dolls and found love in writing. They would craft their own plays and rehearse them with each other endlessly. Although from the outside world, it looked like they were the best of friends, their relationship involved equal parts laughter and violence, and they were actually, in fact, mortal enemies. One time, Jennifer attempted to kill June by strangling her with a radio cord. Another time, June tried to drown Jennifer in a river. Jin was hard to say in interviews later in life that she couldn't seem to live with Jennifer, but also in a curious and frustrating manifestation of their codependency, couldn't seem to live without her either. In their diaries for each other, they spoke of a love-hate relationship. The excerpts from their diaries are chilling. June wrote about Jennifer, quote, "She wants us to be equal. There's a murderous gleam in her eye. Dear Lord, I'm scared of her. She's not normal, someone is driving her insane. It is me," she also wrote, quote, "Nobody suffers the way I do. Not with a sister, with a husband, yes. With a wife, yes. With a child, yes. But this sister of mine, a dark shadow robbing me of sunlight, is my one and only torment." An excerpt from Jennifer's diary says, quote, "We have become fatal enemies in each other's eyes. We feel the irritating, deadly rays come out of our bodies, stinging each other's skin. I say to myself, can I get rid of my own shadow? Impossible or not possible? Without my shadow, would I die without my shadow? Would I gain life, be free, or left to die without my shadow? Which I identify with a face of misery, deception, murder." They wanted to become authors and even wrote a few novels. They took a mail-order creative writing course, and their books were published by self-publishing press called New Horizons. Their novels, unsurprisingly, would not have an impact on the literary world. In June's novel entitled Pepsi Cola Addict, the high school hero was seduced by a teacher, then sent away to a reformatory where a homosexual guard makes a play for him. In Jennifer's novel, entitled The Pugilist, a physician is so eager to save his child's life that he kills the family dog to obtain its heart for a transplant. The dog's spirit lives on in the child and ultimately has its revenge against the father. Jennifer also wrote Discomania, the story of a young woman who discovers that the atmosphere of a local disco incites patrons to insane violence. She followed that up with a book entitled The Taxi Driver's Son, and then a radio play called Postman and Postwoman, and several short stories. But their author stint was unsuccessful, and in order to get recognition, they started committing petty crimes. In October of 1981, they injured a fireman when they deliberately burned down a tractor store, causing $200,000 worth of damage. The violent spree, though, would not last a few weeks after this incident. They were caught vandalizing and attempting to burn down a technical college not far from where they lived. Instead of locking them up in prison, however, they were sent to Broadmoor, a maximum security hospital near London, for the criminally insane. When placed in Broadmoor, they underwent an IQ test, and it is said that both of their results were well above average. They were said to be a special kind of genius, so very smart. but also completely lacking any form of social skills. At Broadmoor, the doctors found Jin and Jennifer to be deeply disturbed, even dangerous. The two took turns eating, one indulging one day while the other starved. And though they were split up and housed themselves on opposite ends of the hospital, nurses often found them eerily frozen in the same distinct poses. This went on for 11 years, until doctors agreed to transfer the twins to Caswell Clinic, a lower security facility in Bridgend, Wales. While at Broadmoor, an interviewer and journalist by the name of Marjorie Wallace met with the twins weekly. She was writing a book about them, and the twins were happy about that, even going so far as to give her their journals and poems. However, as the time went on, doctors reported a darkness grew between them. During their stay at the mental facility, the twins had made a pact. Their pact said that in order for one of them to lead a normal life, the other would have to die. And after much discussion, they decided that Jennifer would be the one to sacrifice her life for the well-being of June. The doctor's plan was that after being transferred to a less secure hospital, the twins would serve another year and then be released into the public. Wallace went to visit the twins one last time at the Broadmoor Hospital, and Jennifer announced Wallace, "Marjorie, I'm going to have to die." And when Wallace asked why, Jennifer answered calmly, "Because we decided." The day they were transferred, they were loaded into a van, and as the van left, Jennifer slumped into June's shoulder and went into a coma. She was pronounced dead at 6:15 that evening. The cause of Jennifer's death was deemed to be acute myocarditis, a sudden inflammation of the heart. But shockingly, there were no symptoms of foul play, no poison in her system, and still today, doctors have no exact reason for her death. Jennifer was 31 years old at her time of death. June told investigators that Jennifer had been acting strangely for about a day before their release. She claims her speech was slurred and that she had said she was dying. When Wallace met June after Jennifer's death, she found her in a strange mood. June told her, "I'm free at last, liberated, and at last Jennifer has given up her life for me." After Jennifer's death, June started interacting with people and became what lay people would call normal. Without her sister Jennifer around June, it seemed it didn't need any psychiatric help, and today lives in a house in West Wales near her parents. As for her sister Jennifer, she's buried under a headstone engraved with a poem written by her twin June. It reads, "We once were two. We two made one, we no more. Two though life be one." Rest in peace.